welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. First, thank you for all of the wonderful comments on my updated sewing space. Kind of rearrange some things, clean some things up as best I could until I'm able to get it how I really want it. But anyway, so in this video, this will be a little bit of a long video, so grab your choice of beverage, grab a seat, and yeah, we're gonna get into it. This is the Rebecca Page Terra jacket. It goes from size XX small to 5XL, and I will pop up a picture here so you see what it looks like. It's like my yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a longer video. It is a bit of a more involved make. I will say that it is my final make from 2019, the last thing that I worked on in 2019. And so I want to just go ahead and jump right into it. What I will start out with first, before I get into a lot of details, are the muslin. I did do a muslin for this jacket, and I highly suggest, highly suggest you do that. Now, the pattern suggests when you do a muslin, you don't need to do all of the pieces. You only need to do your front, your back, your sleeve, your collar, and the lapel. And so you want to just get those pieces into place, because the rest of the pieces are just, you know, pockets in the lining, different things like that. But if you can get the shell of that muslin fitted properly, you would be good to go when you cut into your fashion fabric. And so what I have, the first clip you'll see is me, I shared this in one of my vlogmas, but I'll just clip out the part that I talked about the fitting of the jacket, so you see my initial thoughts there. And then from there I'll transition into the changes that I made, because the only change I had to make was on the shoulder. And so I'll transition into how I made those particular changes to get the shoulder to fit properly. And then we'll come back and I'll show you the jacket, show you a few pictures, and then there's a tip that I did share as well. So I'll be right back. And before I get to the review today, make sure that you have subscribed and you have hit that bell, because I will be sharing my 2020 plans and a roundup of 2019 on Wednesday. So make sure you stay tuned for that video. And this, as much as I don't enjoy doing muslins, I will say over the past year or so, especially with learning how to do certain kind of fit adjustments, I appreciate the muslin process. I still don't enjoy doing them, but I appreciate it to be able to get a good fit. And I knew for this jacket, I'm just going to go ahead and slide it on. And it's muslin fabric, random scraps I had to make these pieces. So let me put it on because I knew I wanted a good fit, and I figured for me the issue was going to come in the shoulders, just because, you know, my shoulders are a little bit more narrow than what most patterns are made up. Most patterns, how they're drafted. And so this is a 4XL of the Terra jacket, and I'll put a picture of the Terra jacket here. So as you can tell, it's not meant to, and I'm gonna back up so you can see, and I'll adjust the camera, but it's not meant to meet anywhere up here. It is meant to come together slightly around the midsection. And let me show you that. Can you see? Here's my midsection. And this here is the frill. Make sure I'm not. Can you see that frill? This is the frill. It's two different color fabrics, so hopefully you can see that. It's supposed to frill down, and the ends do not meet up. It's not supposed to. And so, yes, so that this part fits. Now let me point this out. There's these little sections here. Let me hold this section up because you can see. There's this opening you had to do. I did not sew this right. Again, thank goodness for muslins. These two pieces where you see they're sewed apart, these should be brought in just a little bit more. And then this will be laying flat. See how that's open? It'll still be open, but it'll be very slight because these two pieces will be meeting more in the middle and it'll give it more of a frill. So that's one thing that I didn't do correctly. Collar, and then here's the lapel. I think I told you on Sunday. One side I got good, the other one, they're both still too bulky in the corner, but I know what I did wrong. I'm gonna make sure I remark these pieces on the pattern piece because I don't think I marked it very clearly, and I went back guessing about where that mark was, and yeah, as a result we got some fullness in here, but you can kind of see it's not horrible. Now, the reason you see all of this is because this is a muslin and this part is lined. So you wouldn't even see all of this. And let me show you the back. Look at that. Let me step up. Can you see that? That's the back. So if I pulled it closed, and I did check this in the mirror, I don't need to, I hope you can see that. I don't need to make any adjustments in the back. Hopefully you can see that. No adjustments needed in the back. The sleeve, I think I want to shorten it. Look how long that sleeve is. And you have a vent in the sleeve. But yeah, I need to shorten that. If you can tell, so this is where you can kind of see where my lapel is not really. Let me see if I can get the camera to focus. It's focusing on my background a little bit. There we go. Here is my shoulder, the end, the bone. And here, look at that drop. See that? And then the seam, if I look at the seam, let me stand straight. I'm right here. So my seam, top seam, hitting perfect. Is this. If you can tell, my shoulder ends here. I got about, I'll measure that. I actually need to mark it. And I'm gonna mark it in the mirror. I'm not gonna try to mark it in the view, the camera there, because I don't want to mark it wrong. But you see where I'm going. I knew if anything on this jacket needed to be adjusted, it was going to be the shoulders. Okay, so you just saw in my previous clip, and again, that was previously recorded during Vlogmas. So I have it marked. This is how much I need to take off this shoulder. Let me show you with my ruler. If you can tell, hopefully you can tell, that's 1.5 inches I need to take off. However, I have to take into account the seam allowance. So I need to come in a 1/2 inch, which is, trying to do this through the viewfinder, which is about right. I'm gonna come in about right here. And what I'm going to do is a little bit of a cheater method. I'll share the video that was shared with me, but what I'm going to do is make my adjustment on the muslin. And what I'm going to do is, with my curve ruler, come in to the arm side about right here, front and back, only on this side. I'm only working on one side. And what I'm going to do is, first I'm going to unpick all of the entire sleeve. I'm just going to unpick the entire sleeve. And then I'm going to unpick just, just up to probably right here of the front and back. And what I'm going to do is draw this into the curve, into the arm side in the front, and do the same thing in the back. And then I'm going to reattach the sleeve, and then we're going to check the fit. So I'll come right back when I get this unattached and have the curve drawn in. Okay, so I'm showing how I've unpicked the sleeve. I'm going into this mark here, and I'm going to use my curve to come down a nice curve into the arm side. So let me grab my ruler and I'll show you. Okay, so essentially this is where I put my curve ruler. As you can tell, I started from that point and I'm going into the arm side here. And so I drew my line. So I'm going to cut this off, and then I'm going to do the same thing to the back piece. Okay, so I did the same thing on the back piece. Now I will make a quick note. So here, I'm just going to remove the ruler so you can see my spot. So what I did do is, so I knew that I measured the same distance from the top to the same spot in the arm side, is I just used my ruler, laid it down, and marked on the back that same distance that I did from the front. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut this off. As you can tell, I unpicked the top, a portion of that top shoulder seam. I am going to go ahead and cut these pieces off, the front and back, and then sew the sleeve back in and come back in for a fit look. I'll show you what that looks like, and then I'll make the adjustment on the pattern. And I want to show real quick the pieces that I cut off. See how they match up? So I made sure that the pieces that I cut were the same length, so I didn't have any kind of wonkiness there. So I will be right back and show you how this adjustment looks. Okay, I am back. I have made the adjustment, took out the sleeve as you just saw in the previous, and I only did one side. So here's the moment of truth. I am going to try it on. And remember, I only did the one side, so the other side is still going to be droopy. But, that worked. And see, hopefully the camera, now I messed up on my stitching right there. Right there, but we're not going to worry about that. But can you see, there's my original mark that I showed where I need to come in at. And I am there. So that's why I need to make sure I didn't do the whole 1.5 inches. I did just 1 inch to take into account the seam allowance, sleeve. And I almost feel like, it's probably just me, but I almost felt like my sleeve, it's a ladybug in here. Yeah, I feel like my sleeve went in easier when I took out some of that. But anyway, so that she is hitting right. Okay, right, here's my bone. She's hitting right where she's supposed to be. Yay! I am so happy, so happy. And so, yes, and me doing that, for those who wondering, let me see if I can step back. Because I remember I said I need to shorten my sleeve. I still need to shorten the sleeve. Yes, I am so happy, so happy. All right, I will be back. Okay, so hopefully all of that made sense when I was walking through it. Just to re-emphasize the sizing that I made, I cut out a 4XL for the entire jacket, and I graded out to a 5XL at the hip. And so I did grade out just a little bit at the hip. And so what I have here, I guess I could have re-ironed my muslin, but it's a muslin. So this was my muslin, and I'm going to show you again here after I made the change. As you can see, is dropping off my shoulder here, but I made the change here. And then we have our fit. Now this is not something I will wear with my Terra jacket, but for today's video I will. So I just have on a t-shirt. And then I'll show you a couple of the adjustments I had to make. This fabric, if I did not say already in the previous clips, this is a rayon linen blend mix. And this stuff wrinkles much like linen does, but it doesn't wrinkle as bad because it has that rayon in it. And I did get this from Joann Fabrics. Initially, this fabric was going to be used for something else, but then I decided to go ahead and use it for the Terra jacket. And when I got to cutting out the Terra jacket, I didn't have enough, so make sure you have enough fabric. So I had to go back to Joann's, and they had a whole bunch of this, so I wasn't worried about not going back and it running out. But you will definitely need to press this really good if you do decide to get a linen or a linen rayon mix, because it does wrinkles quite a bit. And so let me see if I can move the camera up so you can see how it fits on the shoulders. It's just perfect now. It fits perfect. And see, this is what I've worn this a couple times already. Well, I wore it once for a full day. I wore it to church on New Year's Eve, and yeah, it needs a good press. But as you can tell, there's my shoulder bone and everything, so it fits beautifully. One of the things that the pattern calls for are belt loops. I tend not to do belt loops on anything that I make because I don't wear belts like that. However, one of the things I think I'm going to do, and let me see if I can back up and show you where it meets, so the belt will go across this way, and hopefully you can. Okay, I had to readjust the camera so you can see. So I would wear it like this. I would just wear it like this, but I was thinking, I wonder, should I put a snap here for days I don't want it open, but I don't want to wear a belt? Or hook and eye, not a snap, a hook and eye, which I can just put right underneath here where the lapel kind of begins to flutter. I think I will do that just for those days. I might want it closed, but I don't want anything tied around my waist. So yeah, that is probably one of the only things I will think about adding. It's not a must-have. I don't mind. I tend to just wear my jackets open, but I was thinking, if I wanted to, I could always add that hook and eye. So let's get into the instructions. I felt like the instructions were really good. There was a tricky part for me that I struggled with, and it was oh, and I do want to mention that the pattern does have the option to add shoulder pads. I don't like shoulder pads and things. The only thing I've ever added shoulder pads in was my Chilton, my cashmere Chilton trench, but so far as clothes, I don't put shoulder pads in my clothes, but it does have the option to do that. So if that is something that you wanted to do, and I just want to scroll down here and go through my notes. So some of the features that I do like is that the back does have back darts that you have, and then of course you have your bust darts in the front as well. And you do have for the jacket, you have your front panel, the upper bust, you have the mid panel, and then you have the lower panel for your front, and then your back is the full back piece. And what I do like with those darts, it does give a nice curve. Even the pattern piece for the back has a nice curve to it, so it's not boxy at all. It gives a really nice silhouette on the body if that is something that you're looking for. Now when it comes to putting together the lapel into the collar, you will see, let me see if I can show you, my lapel looks fantastic. You all saw in my previous clip there that I shared in my fitting, it was all jumbled up and bunched up in here, and so now I have I love it. It sits perfectly, nice little point in there. And so the trick to that is really in how you sew it. And it can be now this was the part for me that I felt was the most confusing, was really sewing the lapel into the collar. It's a certain way you want to make sure that you lay the pieces together, and then how you sew it together. Now the instructions do say you want to sew from the center point to the end, center point to the end when you're putting these together. but it can read a little confusing. At least it did for me. So what I've done is recorded that part. So if you do decide to do the Terra jacket and you get to that part where you're adding the lapel into your collar, I have added a clip here so then you can see what the instructions were saying. I wanted to show you just how to do step 3.7 and 3.8 talks about how to put this piece together. You're attaching the lapel to the collar, and it may read a little confusing in the direction, so I thought I would show you how to put those pieces together so you can get a nice crisp point here in your lapel. Okay, so you have the top of your lapel here, and then you have your collar. So this edge of your collar that's still open after you have sewn the pieces together, your interfacing is down on the bottom and the main part is on the top. Same thing with your lapel. You have your interfacing on the bottom and the main part on the top. And so essentially, let me focus this. So essentially what you're going to do, and you can lay it down like this if it's easier. Here's your collar. Here's your lapel. You're going to slide this in where that notch, see where you have that notch. You had a notch in your collar where you stopped sewing. You want to slide that in up to that point in the lapel like this. This is the first part that you're doing into your collar. So your lapel is into your collar. Then you're going to open it and pin or clip right sides together. So you know you have the right pieces together because you have your interfacing pieces are touching and your non-interfacing pieces are touching. So what you're going to do is, and I'm trying to look through my viewfinder here, you are going to match up and your ends should meet here. Your lapel and your collar end should meet as well as your lapel and the end of your collar. And so you see here where those seams are meeting, you are just going ahead and you are pinning or clipping, whatever is more convenient for you, those sections excuse me, together. So essentially you're getting that lapel in there just to get it at the right stopping point, and then you're turning it where the right sides then begin to meet together. And so this is what you will have. Once you have that in, you have your lapel up against your collar, and then once you turn it in right sides together, you will have the interface sides together and the non-interface sides together. And then what you want to do is go ahead and begin sewing from the center point where those seams meet, the 1/2 inch all the way to the end, and then turn your garment around and sew from this point over here. Do not sew from here, start from here. I recommend, as the pattern recommends, and I learned this in doing my muslin, do not start sewing from here all the way down and then trying to pivot and go this way, because you will have some bunching up in this corner. And if you saw in my previous clip there, I had a lot of bunching. It just wasn't laying right. It's because I did not do this tip, which is start from here, sew down, turn your work around, start from here, and then sew down. And then once you do that, that is how you get a nice crisp lapel. And so I just wanted to show, I already sewn the 1/2 to that point where those seams meet, and now I will sew. I just wanted to make sure you knew where I was talking about, and then I'm just going to sew the other end, turn this right side out, press it, and show you a clean lapel. Okay, so once you're done, you give it a good press and you have 2 beautiful lapel pieces that have met perfectly at the point. Everything is turned out and pressed well. So hopefully that helped, and I explained that, okay, how to put those pieces together just to make sure you get a nice lay down of your lapel and collar. So it worked out so beautifully. I did talk about shortening the sleeves in my initial clips there, but I did not. Now if these sleeves, so the sleeves have a slit in it, and I'll talk to you about what happened with mine, because initially I was supposed to line this just to have back lining. We're going to talk about that, but since I end up leaving the slit there, I didn't shorten the sleeve because it's not feeling restrictive at all, and I do like that look where you'll have that slit in the back. One of the things I would say about the instructions that I thought, even though I did print this in color, what I thought would have been helpful, especially when you're doing something as involved in this and you have so many pieces to be thinking about, is that it would have helped if some of the pictures, if the pieces were in different fabrics, so maybe different color fabrics, so you knew, because there might have been a part or two where one might be a little confused on what piece is what piece, but if it was a different color, then you would know what piece that is. So that's probably one of the other things, because it is a lot of pieces. I will say that you have your 2-piece sleeve, which is awesome, gives a really nice fit. Like I said, the bodice front is 3 different pieces, plus you have your, and let me take this off so I can show it to you. You do have your pocket in the front with your pocket bag, which is so pretty. I really do like that, and I'll pop up pictures here soon of me in it, which is not necessarily how I would style it, the way I took the pictures, but I kind of forgot about needing to take the pictures, and so I just did some pictures. But that pocket, the way it goes in, is beautiful. It is a functional pocket. However, I will say it's not a deep pocket. It's a very shallow pocket. See, so I wouldn't put anything in here because it wouldn't stay, or I don't think it's deep enough, and I would hate for anything to fall out. But so it's not deep, so you might want to consider lengthening the pocket some if you want it to be functional. Otherwise, to me, it's functional, but I mean, I don't know what you would necessarily put in it. So as I was saying, I was initially supposed to do the half line back version, and so everything was just moving along just smoothly. The fit was good, everything was well, until I went to join the back lining to the shell of the jacket. I had, for whatever reason, and I will go back and look at my pattern pieces because I did trace everything off, of course, but for whatever reason, my back up around the neck, because once you have your back pieces together, and this lining, this is a polyester lining, hate it. I cannot stand this lining. I was just getting something quick. I prefer Bimberg or a nice cotton, lightweight cotton lining, something more stable, because this polyester lining was, ugh, I did not like working with it. But anyway, at any rate, so when I went to connect, because you connect your back piece to your shell, and I had way more fabric on here than my lining. So my guess is it was user error, my error, something with the pieces. I don't know if I cut a piece out wrong, or I overlapped everything fine, I traced everything fine, I looked at it and looked at it, but it was just way too much fabric here where you meet the 2 pieces. It wouldn't meet. There was nothing I can do to make it meet. So what I did was, because you do the facing and you do the lining pieces together, and then you attach everything to the main piece, what I did was cut the facing off of the lining, because the facing is still nice. I wanted the facing to still be there. And so what I did was, let me just take it off the hanger. What I did was save the facing piece. So you can see the facing pieces there and see underneath there. So that's what I did to save the facing piece. And what I did do, because you do Hong Kong seam finishes on the back here, in the middle back, your center back seam. But here, you know, this is where all the lining would have been. It wouldn't have shown this. So I just put bias binding around the collar. That's how I accounted for that. And then because I knew I'm putting my arms in and out the jacket, right? So I went ahead and put bias binding all around the armhole, just so it doesn't continue to fray there. So I did that for both armholes. And then let's see here. Oh, here it is. I need to clip some seams. Then I have the inside seam where I bound that as well. But I now have, because none of this would have been exposed had I been able to put the lining in. All of this is exposed. Can you see that? I'll hold that up. As you can see, that's all exposed, and I wasn't sure what to do with that. Because I was thinking, oh, I can go around my pocket with the bias binding, but the way the pocket goes in, I can't get all the way around that seam, because I was thinking, oh, I can bias bind all of that. But the way the pocket went in and everything, had it been a forethought, maybe I would have done that. But I was looking to have half line it. You have a full lining option as well, but I wanted to just half line it. So that was the best I did with kind of trying to bind as many seams as I could. So yeah, so that's what I did. And by all means, if you all have any suggestions on the other, it's not that much left that needs to be bound, because I didn't want any raw edges in there once I took that lining piece out. But if anybody has any suggestions on what I can do with that, let me know. Maybe I can, I don't have pinking shears, but I do need to get some. Maybe I can just pink those edges and leave it at that. But yeah, I tried to bind as many of the inside as I can. But I do love the jacket. I do love the jacket. I love the fit. I'm glad, you know, so far as this here, all I did was just turn this under just to finish it off, the sleeves. And same thing with the hem at the bottom, because again, all of this would have been hidden. But I just turned it under. This is the bottom hem. I just turned that under. But I do love the way that it turned out. I can most certainly see sewing this up again. It won't be anytime soon. Y'all know how I am about makes that's deeply involved. It'll take me a minute to get back to it. But I do like it, and I can most certainly see this in a chambray. For sure. Yes, a chambray, something nice and flowy, a linen rayon. Just realize it will wrinkle. A linen, something like that, very nice drape to it. I can definitely see making it again. And so yeah, that is my full review. I know it's a little bit of a longer one, but hopefully some of these tips and things that I shared were helpful. If you have any questions or you think I missed something, please leave them in the comment below. I will leave a link to the Tara jacket. It is an affiliate link, and so just so you're aware of that. And yeah, that's it. That's all I have. Again, if you have any questions, please let me know. And that's it. We will see you in the next video.